The challenge from above. The Halixian Collective had existed for over 12,000 years. Their empire spanned 17 star systems, with technology that had mastered gravitational manipulation, faster than light travel, and energy weapons that could shatter moons. Their society was built on a hierarchy of technological achievement. Those who created the most advanced innovations ruled, and those who could not contribute meaningfully to their scientific progress were relegated to servitude. Admiral Selphos stood on the command deck of the Infinite Spiral, the flagship of the Halixian exploration fleet. His iridescent scales shimmered under the blue light of the holographic display, showing their newest discovery, a small blue planet on the outer rim of an unremarkable spiral galaxy. "Curious," he said, his six-fingered hand tracing the outline of Earth's continents. "The spectral analysis shows signs of industrialization, but they're still burning fossil fuels. Primitive." Science Officer Raven nodded, her cranial ridges pulsing with the pale green light that indicated amusement among the Halixian people. "They've only achieved rudimentary space travel. Their most advanced vessels can barely reach their own moon. And their weaponry." She made a clicking sound that translated roughly to laughter. "They're still using chemical propellants and nuclear fission. They haven't even developed basic particle shields." Admiral Selphos zoomed in on the planet's northern hemisphere, focusing on the sprawling cities and industrial centers. "And yet they've managed to avoid self-destruction. Interesting. Their communication systems suggest a global civilization, though fragmented into nation-states." "Shall we move on, Admiral?" asked Rava. "The Collective ordered us to catalog potential resource worlds, not study primitive species." Selphos didn't immediately respond. Something about this planet intrigued him. "No, I want to observe them more closely. There's something different about this species. They've progressed from stone tools to rudimentary spaceflight in less than 10,000 years. That's unusually fast. With respect, Admiral, fast development doesn't equal advanced capabilities. They're still centuries away from being a spacefaring civilization." The Admiral's scales shifted to a deep blue, indicating decision. "We will conduct a test. The Collective has been searching for new protectorate species. These, humans, might be suitable candidates." "A test?" Rava's ridges pulsed with concern. "What kind of test?" "The usual kind," Selphos replied, his voice cold and clinical. "We'll demonstrate our power and observe their response. If they submit appropriately, they may be worthy of Halixian guidance. If they resist foolishly, they'll serve as an example to others." Dr. Mira Chen stared at the data scrolling across her screen, trying to make sense of the anomalous readings from the Deep Space Monitoring Array. For the past 3 weeks, something had been lurking at the edge of the solar system, something that didn't match any known celestial body or phenomenon. "General Hammond needs to see this," she muttered, pushing her chair back from the desk. The underground facility known as Prometheus Base was one of humanity's best-kept secrets. Buried beneath the Antarctic ice shelf, it had been constructed over the past 15 years as a joint effort between 17 nations. Its existence was known to fewer than 300 people worldwide. General Elijah Hammond was reviewing security protocols when Dr. Chen burst into his office without knocking. "They're moving," she said without preamble. Hammond didn't need clarification. He'd been briefed on the anomaly 2 weeks ago. "How fast?" "Accelerating at rates that violate everything we know about physics. They'll reach Earth orbit in less than 12 hours. The general's face remained impassive, but his eyes betrayed his concern. "Are we ready?" Mira hesitated. "The Prometheus network is at 82% capacity. The orbital platforms are fully operational, but the deep space interceptors are still being calibrated. We'd need another month to bring everything online." "We don't have a month, Doctor. We barely have half a day." Hammond picked up the secure phone on his desk. "This is General Hammond. Initiate Protocol Sentinel. Authorization code, Thermopylae." The red alert klaxons began to sound throughout the base. Within the hour, The 17 participating nations have been notified through secure channels. Military forces worldwide were quietly put on high alert, but the general public remained unaware. There was no mass panic, no dramatic announcements. This was exactly as planned. Project Prometheus had been designed to operate in complete secrecy, even in the moment of first contact. As predicted, 12 hours later, the alien vessels entered Earth orbit. There were 7 of them, each nearly 2 kilometers long, with sleek, spiral-shaped hulls that seemed to bend the light around them. They positioned themselves strategically around the planet, covering all major population centers. Then came the broadcast, transmitted simultaneously on all communication frequencies worldwide. People of Earth, began the message, translated perfectly into every major human language. We are the Halixian Collective. Your planet has been selected for evaluation. Your technological development has reached a crucial threshold, and your species now requires guidance to avoid self-destruction. The message continued, outlining what amounted to a surrender demand disguised as an offer of protection. The Halixians would provide limited technological assistance in exchange for resource rights and administrative authority over human affairs. In the White House Situation Room, the President of the United States sat with her advisors, watching the broadcast with grim determination. "They think we're defenseless," she said quietly. "They have no idea what we've been building." General Hammond's face appeared on a secure video link. "Madam President, Project Prometheus is ready to deploy on your command. The orbital platforms report all systems green, and the ground-based arrays are powered up." The President looked around the room, meeting the eyes of each advisor in turn. All nodded their agreement. "General Hammond, you have my authorization to activate Project Prometheus. Show these Halixians what humanity is capable of." Hammond's expression didn't change, but there was a gleam of satisfaction in his eyes. "Yes, Madam President." Deep in the Antarctic ice, Mira Chen typed a series of commands into her terminal. Across the globe, buried beneath mountains, hidden in ocean trenches, and concealed in desert wastes, 16 other scientists did the same. "Prometheus network activating," Mira announced, her voice steady despite the gravity of the moment. "Quantum entanglement links established. Orbital platforms coming online." On her screen, 17 red dots turned green one by one, forming a web that encompassed the entire planet. In space, invisible to the Halixian sensors, 300 small satellites simultaneously activated. Each contained technology that had been developed in absolute secrecy, the culmination of reverse-engineered alien tech recovered from a crashed scout ship in 1947. "Halixian vessels are maintaining position," reported one of the technicians. "They show no sign of detecting our defensive grid." Mira nodded. They wouldn't. The quantum stealth systems were designed specifically to counter their sensor technology. She turned to the communications officer. "Send the response." Aboard the Infinite Spiral, Admiral Xelthus received the humans' reply with a satisfied flick of his tail. As expected, their leaders had agreed to negotiations, requesting a 24-hour period to prepare their representatives. "Such predictable creatures," he said to Rava. "They recognize superior power when they see it." "Sir," interrupted the sensor officer, his voice uncertain, "I'm detecting energy fluctuations in the planet's atmosphere. Pattern unknown." Xelthos frowned. "Elaborate." "The readings are unusual, sir. Brief power spikes scattered across the planet's surface, but they disappear almost instantly. It could be an artifact of their primitive power grid, or—" The ship suddenly shuddered, alarms blaring across the command deck. "What was that?" demanded Xelthos. "Unknown, sir. Our shields just registered an impact, but there's nothing on sensors." Before Xelthos could respond, another impact rocked the ship, harder this time. "Impossible," whispered Rava. "They shouldn't have weapons capable of." A third hit sent crew members stumbling across the deck. This time, the shield indicators flashed red. "Full defensive posture," shouted Selthos. "All ships, activate countermeasures." But the Halixian fleet had been caught completely unprepared. From seemingly nowhere, energy beams lanced through space, striking with pinpoint precision. The humans' response had been coordinated and devastating, not the desperate, unorganized resistance the Admiral had expected. As alarms continued to sound, Selthos realized with growing horror that he had made a terrible miscalculation. These humans were not the primitive, helpless species they had appeared to be. They had been waiting, preparing. And now the test he had so casually ordered was turning into something else entirely. The battle for Earth had begun, and the Halixians were not the ones in control. Humanity's answer. Admiral Selthos gripped the command rail as another impact shook the infinite spiral. The ship's automated damage control systems were struggling to compensate for the precision strikes hitting their vessel. "Report," he demanded, his scales now pulsing with the crimson hue of battle readiness. "6 direct hits on our port shield generators," the tactical officer replied, voice tight with stress. "Shield capacity down to 38%. 2 of our escort vessels are reporting critical damage to their propulsion systems." Rava's eyes widened as she studied the sensor data. "Admiral, I've isolated the source of the attacks. They're coming from small satellites in low orbit, hundreds of them, using some form of advanced stealth technology." "Impossible," Selthos hissed. "Their technological level couldn't support such weapons." "The evidence suggests otherwise, sir," Rava replied, her scientific objectivity overriding her previous dismissal of human capabilities. "And there's more. We're detecting energy signatures from the planet's surface, massive power sources that weren't there during our initial scans." On the tactical display, new threats appeared as the sensor officers finally calibrated their systems to detect the human defenses. The orbital grid was just the first layer. Rising from Earth's atmosphere came sleek vessels, smaller than the Halixian ships, but moving with incredible speed and agility. "They have spacecraft." Selthos couldn't hide his shock. "Combat-capable spacecraft. 78 vessels detected," confirmed the tactical officer. "Unknown design and propulsion method, but they're accelerating at rates comparable to our own interceptors." Selthos slammed his fist against the rail. "Open a channel to their leaders. I want to know how they concealed this level of technology." In the control center of Prometheus Base, Dr. Mira Chen watched with grim satisfaction as the first wave of their defense system struck the alien fleet. The quantum-entangled energy beams had bypassed the Halixian shields exactly as predicted, targeting specific vulnerabilities in their design. "All orbital platforms report successful targeting," announced one of the technicians. "Shield penetration rate at 92%. General Hammond nodded approvingly. "Launch the interceptors. Let's show them what else we've been hiding." On screens around the control room, feeds from around the world showed massive hangar doors opening in remote locations, beneath the Sahara Desert, in the mountains of Tibet, under the Amazon rainforest, and from underwater bases in the Pacific and Atlantic Oceans. From these hidden facilities emerged Earth's secret fleet, 300 aerospace fighters, and 22 larger vessels that served as carriers and command ships. This was the true heart of Project Prometheus, a multinational space force built in absolute secrecy over 15 years, using technology that had been carefully kept off the public record. Interceptor squadrons, Alpha through Delta engaging the enemy fleet, reported the Air Force colonel managing the aerospace operations. Quantum targeting systems fully operational. Mira watched the tactical display with a mixture of pride and anxiety. The project she had dedicated her life to was finally being put to the ultimate test. As the chief scientist responsible for adapting the alien technology recovered from various crash sites over the decades, she knew better than anyone both the strengths and limitations of their defenses. "They're returning fire," warned one of the technicians. On the screens, brilliant flashes of energy erupted from the Halixian vessels, slicing through space toward Earth's fighters. But the human vessels performed evasive maneuvers with incredible precision, their pilots executing tactics that had been developed specifically for this scenario. We studied them, Mira explained to Hammond as they watched the battle unfold. Every piece of alien technology we recovered, every transmission we intercepted. We learned their tactical doctrines, their weapons capabilities, their shield frequencies. They think they're fighting primitives, but we've been preparing for this exact engagement for decades. Hammond's expression remained stoic, but there was pride in his voice. Operation Silent Vigil is finally paying off. The operation he referred to was perhaps the most classified program in human history. The systematic recovery and reverse engineering of alien technology that had been visiting Earth since at least the 1940s. Not just the famous Roswell incident, but dozens of others that had been successfully kept out of public knowledge. Aboard the Infinite Spiral, Admiral Xelthos was facing the unthinkable, defeat at the hands of a species he had dismissed as primitive. 3 of the 7 Halixian vessels were now critically damaged, their weapons systems offline. The humans are using modified versions of Arcturian phase cannons, Riva reported, her voice hollow with disbelief. Technology they couldn't possibly have developed independently. They salvaged it, Xelthos realized, the truth dawning on him with horrible clarity. The lost Arcturian exploration vessel from 3 centuries ago. It must have crashed on their planet. Not just one vessel, Rava corrected, analyzing the data from the human attacks. I'm detecting at least 4 distinct technological signatures in their weapon systems. Arcturian, Zethral, even some elements that appear to be based on our own technology. Xelthos felt the weight of his miscalculation crushing down on him. They've been collecting and studying crashed ships, learning from them, preparing. Sir, their vessels are surrounding us. They're forming an attack pattern. On the tactical display, the human fleet had executed a perfect encirclement maneuver, positioning their ships to target the remaining Halixian vessels from multiple angles. Open a communication channel, Xelthos ordered, his scales now the pale blue of resignation. The main view screen activated, showing a human female with stern features and calculating eyes. This is Dr. Mira Chen of Earth Defense Command. Your unprovoked aggression against our planet has been met with appropriate force. Power down your weapon systems immediately. Xelthos straightened his posture, maintaining what dignity he could. This is Admiral Xelthos of the Halixian Collective. We underestimated your species' technological advancement. I request terms for our withdrawal. The human's expression didn't change. You came to our world uninvited, threatened our sovereignty, and expected submission. Now you request terms. The Collective has protocols for first contact with advanced civilizations, Xelthos replied. Had we known your true capabilities, we would have approached diplomatically, and that's supposed to excuse your actions. Dr. Chen's voice was cold. You didn't come here to establish peaceful relations. You came to conquer what you thought was easy prey. Before Xelthos could respond, alarms blared across the command deck. Admiral, the tactical officer shouted. The humans are deploying some kind of new weapon. From Earth's surface, 17 massive energy beams suddenly converge, focusing on a point in space just ahead of the Halixian fleet. The fabric of space-time itself seemed to warp and twist, forming what appeared to be an artificial singularity. What are they doing? Xelthos demanded, true fear entering his voice for the first time. On the view screen, Dr. Chen's expression remained impassive. That's our quantum fold generator. It creates a localized space-time distortion that will send your fleet approximately 5 light-years from here. Consider it our way of escorting you out. Such technology is beyond even the Collective's capabilities, whispered Rava. Not anymore, Chen replied, having heard the science officer's comment. We've had 75 years to study the crashed vessels of 7 different alien civilizations. We've learned much in that time, including how to defend ourselves against threats like yours. The singularity grew larger, its gravitational pull beginning to affect the Halixian vessels. You have 30 seconds before the fold completes, Chen continued. When you return to the Collective, deliver this message. Earth is not open to conquest or colonization. We are not interested in becoming anyone's protectorate. We will, however, consider peaceful diplomatic relations with civilizations that approach us with respect. Xelthos stared at the human scientist, seeing his own reflection in her unwavering gaze. In that moment, he understood that the Halixians' entire approach to galactic expansion would need to be reconsidered. This species, these humans, were unlike any they had encountered before. Acknowledged, he finally said, "The collective will receive your message." As the quantum fold engulfed the Halixian fleet, transporting them instantly across light years of space, Admiral Xelthos had one final thought. The galaxy had just become a much more complicated place. Back on Earth, celebrations were muted and limited to those few hundred individuals who knew the truth about what had happened. To the general public, the alien vessels had simply appeared and then departed after a brief communication exchange. A curious first contact that governments worldwide were still evaluating. In the conference room at Prometheus Base, Dr. Chen sat with General Hammond and representatives from the 17 participating nations. "The quantum fold technology worked perfectly," she reported. "The Halixian fleet has been relocated to a position near the Kuiper Belt. Our long-range sensors confirm they've regrouped and are heading out of the solar system." "Will they return?" asked the Chinese representative. "Perhaps with a larger force." Hammond shook his head. "The psychological impact of today's encounter shouldn't be underestimated. They came expecting easy domination and instead discovered we've been quietly building defenses using technology from their peers and rivals. The Halixian collective will be reassessing everything they thought they knew about us." "Which gives us time," added the Russian delegate, "time to continue building our defenses and establish our position in the galactic community." Mira nodded. "Phase 2 of Project Prometheus can now begin. With the data we've collected from this engagement, we can refine our technology further. The deep space vessels are nearly complete. Actual exploration ships, not just defensive platforms. Humanity's first true steps into interstellar space," mused the Indian representative. "Born not from conquest or colonization, but from the necessity of self-defense." General Hammond stood, looking around at the assembled representatives. "The galaxy now knows that Earth is not defenseless. We've earned ourselves a seat at the table. The question is, what kind of galactic neighbors will we choose to be?" "Better ones than the Halixians," Mira replied with a small smile. "We won't make the mistake of underestimating other civilizations based on appearances." As the meeting concluded, and the representatives dispersed to report to their respective governments, Mira remained behind, staring at the tactical display showing the retreating Halixian fleet. For better or worse, humanity had announced its presence on the galactic stage. The age of isolation was over, and the true challenge was just beginning. But Mira took comfort in knowing that when faced with an overwhelming threat, the nations of Earth had come together, setting aside their differences to defend their shared home. Perhaps that unity was humanity's greatest achievement, and its most powerful weapon in the battles to come.